Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back with another Reddit Ask Me Anything. We're joined by Jancarlos Baby Tank Rivera.
Hey, how you guys doing today? Pleasure to be
I
on here.
Thanks, man. I want to know who is Big Tank. If you're Baby Tank, who's Big Tank?
Well, Javante Tank Davis is the one who started, the whole tank perception. Um, and I recently, I was a big fan of his, and I recently found out that he converted over to Islam and he's Muslim
Right.
now. And it's okay. He still believes in the Messiah. There's still faith for my brother, but I believe it was time for me to step in and fulfill the rest of the name because I do respect him and I obviously give him his credit where it's deserved. He's the creator of it, but he's not fulfilling it. He's not fulfilling the tank. He's been running. He's been doing things like to my understanding in the wrong accord. So I just want to shed light on it and continue the path because I hit hard. I'm small, but I'm a tank. I can take punches, but I'm also very, very explosive like Javante Tank Davis. And I will find my mark. I always do, whether it's resulting in a tooth loss or a knockout or a stoppage, whatever. I just know that I've been honestly working on myself and praying to God and allowing myself to step up in the blocks, building block by block. My first opponent, Ryan out in Syria, I respect him a lot because him and his family have given me nothing but positive advice. They did put me through one of the toughest fights of my life. My very first fight was against someone going to their backyard. The whole crowd was there for them. I only had a couple people there for me and but Jesus was there for both of us and we were able to connect. And sometimes it's not always about winning the fight, it's about learning from that and growing. And it's the amateur prospect series, so it was never a better time to accept the loss because I know once I go pro I won't allow that to happen again.
Okay, so fighting or family stuff or personal stuff. Which would you like to get into first?
I would like to get I would like to get into my family first, honestly.
Okay, so I would like to talk to you about your family, but first I need to know. You told me you have a very famous relative. I would love for you to get into that.
All right, so growing up, I actually didn't know my biological father. My stepfather was raising me, and I remember vividly one day my mom was doing like a garage sale in the front. My brother comes up and he's like, "Hey, your dad's outside." And I'm like confused, but I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, whatever. Dad's outside." And I put on my underwear as I run outside, and then I see my stepdad talking to my biological father, and I was just like, and then my mom was like, "Hey, this is your dad," and I'm like, okay, hey dad. I gave him a hug. I can remember me giving him a hug, like me just being a kid. Like I
Yeah.
remember this vividly, giving him a hug and then just, saying hi. And she's like, "You're gonna be going with him and starting like in a couple weeks, like next weekend." And I started going to my father's house and it was very hard for me, growing up because I was considered troubled. I was considered ESC. They had me on pharmaceuticals in front of doctors, never really voicing what was going on at home and the reality of the situation. My parents wasn't exploiting my talents and I was very full of energy and they were kind of focused on their love life. So when I was around my dad, he was very active and he was very aggressive and he followed boxing. And I remember he would watch Miguel Cotto all the time. And I remember one day we went to New York and he's like, "We're gonna go see your cousin." And I'm like sitting there like, "What?" Like he's like, "We're gonna go see your cousin." And we go and we get to Madison Square Garden. We go into like this hotel and like all his promoters and everyone's coming down or whatever. And like my dad's not talking to none of the promoters. Like, I don't want to talk to them. And he hops on his phone and he gets in contact with Miguel Cotto. And Miguel Cotto, I remember this, man. He comes down in the elevator and he lets his call come up. My dad and my stepmom were taking photos with him and stuff like that. I was able to catch photos with him outside. They got him in the hotel room. I was able to get a photo with him and my little sister outside.
Okay.
And I just found it cool, like, knowing that I like that's my family. Like my dad would go and meet up with him, would talk to him, and things of that sort, and go support all his fights and the breakdown. Just being a child and knowing that he's older than me. He was far more older than me. Is being successful and he's doing something with his life, and all my family would support him. Everyone would talk about Miguel Cotto. If you're a Rivera, Martinez, Cotto, all they talk about is Miguel Cotto. So that was my upbringing. On those days that he fought, my dad every Friday, he gets, my dad gets lit, man. I'm gonna just be honest. He likes to drink, man. And
All
every
right.
Friday was, bottles and fight night, and hanging out. And that's what they did, and still to this day, that's how he lives his life. I gotta be honest. Still to this day, that's how he lives his life. Um, but this time is different. I want to be the one they watch on TV. I want to be the one they popping bottles to, and I want to fulfill it. Miguel Cotto's a warrior. He's brought war to the ring. He always had his head on right. Obviously he did have some marital issues and losing his father and all those things. The loss against Margarito. The loss against Pacquiao, Trout. Austin Trout. I got to meet him and let him know that I'm Cotto's cousin, and he's like, man, you're royalty, and just
Yeah.
being embraced by everybody and everybody seeing that I'm not a cap, that it's all legitimate, has been a blessing, and that all the pieces are putting itself together.
Yeah, it was cool because I was talking to Austin Trout and chatting with you and when you guys were talking about Mago, and he's like, "Holy shit!" He gave you his phone number. He's like,
Yeah.
"Bro, we got to talk."
Yeah. And the guy's a good guy, man. Austin Trout definitely is a man of the sport. I watch films, I study. I'm not in this to just throw my hands and take abuse. Obviously, I want to learn and get better. And what I've realized from watching him is knowing yourself, man, knowing your style and knowing who you are. And that's something that I can honestly say Austin Trout has been very good at, keeping his distance, just using his IQ. His IQ, having that IQ is something that you need when you're in this sport. It's not about, looking good, everyone doing it for the image, and then they get in there and they get embarrassed. You're fighting for your life, man. You got to have a will and a passion and a desire to do this and a desire to learn and lock in. Like, even for, say, on the way to driving, because we'll move on in the conversation. But who I'm training with, I got a special person in the corner, and he was letting me know like all these little things, like you have to have focus, laser sharp focus. The horses, man, they're focused. They're not looking to the left or the right, and this is the mentality and the way you
Sure.
have to be when you're in this sport.
Definitely, yeah. You got to have the blinders on and just focus on what's in front of you. Okay, so right now your hair is up. When your hair is down, you look young as can be. Like, how old are you? Like, when I first met you, I met you. You're with Merck, and I was like, bro, Merck brought this high school kid with him, and you're saying, I'm not a high school kid, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I'm 26, man. Everybody thinks I'm a child because I ain't gonna lie. I have a smaller frame. I'm five. I ain't gonna lie. I think I'm 5'4" now. Just give me a little. Hey,
give
you
me
know
the
what? Okay, let's just listen. I'm 5'3", but hey, for my short people with the Vapor Maxes, they give you a couple inches. Those are the high heels for men's, if you feel what I'm saying.
all right,
But nah, man, I could understand, I look young, the physique and stuff, but now I'm
sure,
26, man. And I appreciate that. That's a compliment, man. I've been embracing. I remember when I was a kid and people would be like, "You're a baby." And I'd be mad. I'm like, I can't wait to get older. And now it's wonderful to embrace the fact that I am young. I do look young. I have great genes, and to be able to utilize it and to honor my Lord and Savior and exalt him with everything that I do, man, it's a blessing. Look where I'm at. I'm literally a part of the BKFC, and that's glory to God and the opportunities that Nelson, Serge, David Feldman has allowed us to do this. I believe that he's seen the passion in us, the fire in us. He sees that we're showing up to for him to see that we want it as bad as we want to breathe, I think was a very key point for David to make the things happen that are happening. A lot of fighters really want it as bad as they want to breathe. And I believe that this is the fastest growing combat sport for that reason.
okay. So again, we're gonna bring up Merck. So when I saw you and Merck outside at the casino, you guys had hand passes. Like, how the hell you guys weren't supposed to be where you're at? He wants you to tell everybody how you guys finangled your way. You were in the locker room. You were in the press conference. I saw you everywhere, and yet I didn't see like the official lanyard. So how the hell did you work that out?
Okay, I'm going to be completely honest. When you do everything with Jesus and you have great intentions and you really want to be a part of something, he will make a way. You have his just lean on him. We looked at each other. We're like, bro, we're gonna get there early and we're gonna show them we're stepping, bro. We're gonna show them we want it as bad as we want to breathe. We belong here. We're gonna run the show. And, bro, we just walked with that energy and it worked, man. It worked perfectly fine, and me and Merck, that whole night I told him, I said, we gotta stick together, bro. That's the only way. Brothers unite, they stick together, and they don't break each other's back. They don't, they don't wander off. We got this. We're gonna stick together. the whole night we stuck together, and bro, we got everywhere together, man. It was crazy, understanding, being a visual person is key. And since we're boxers and fighters and stuff like that, I think that was the key to our success, is just being on beat, just watching and just watching how everybody moves and what bracelets they got on, and just key things, just trying to get in there, man. I need to get in, man. And we did it. We got in there, dude, and it was amazing, man, to be able to be where I was. It's like I belong there. That's why I told him. I said, man, we belong here, man. God knew what he was doing, man. We were worried, but the thing was, I ain't gonna lie, he was worried and I was worried, and two worrying some people together would not make it work. I remember there was a break point where we were like, bro, we got this. It doesn't matter. We gonna stick together. And I believe in that moment when me and him locked in and said, we're gonna stick together. We're not gonna worry no more. Whatever happens, happens. We get here. It is what it is. Let's do it. We're rocking behind each other. And when we did that and we put Jesus with it, man, it happened, bro. I'm telling you, we were everywhere. We were sliding like chameleons, in and out. I mean, but the thing is, we did it with true love, and like I said, we act like we belong there. We were being supportive. We were recording. We were hyping up the fighters. We weren't doing too much, going all the way over here, all the way over there. Like, all right, we just kind of like learned our lane, and thanks to Sambo, shout out to Sambo. That was a beautiful knockout. Sambo had a key part in this too. Once we met up with the coaches and him, they just like, man, you with us, and they took us under their wing, and we ended up being in their locker room and walking out with them, and that was the blessing. Just sticking together and letting the pieces come together and having faith.
It was just a super funny story because when we talked, you're like, "Oh, dude, like our tickets didn't come through, our passes didn't come through," and then the next thing I know, everywhere I see you, and I have my media credentials on, and the people there were such assholes. Like, no, you can't go over here, and I'm like, this guy who isn't supposed to be in any of these places. Everywhere I see you, you're walking around. So it's funny.
Well, that's the thing. Like, when we were waiting for the media passes, I just understand that sometimes things go the way that they're supposed to. But this was very hectic. You had so many people there, like so many fighters, and
Yeah.
the Hard Rock staff are very, very strict. So there was very limited passes. I know people had great intents of wanting me there and helping us, and it showed. Even at the end, Nelson came through. He came clutch. So did Serge, and the team, they came clutch, and we still didn't even need those at the end, though. When
Yeah.
when God writes something down in stone, I've noticed that it's inevitable. You just gotta accept it for what it is, and that's kind of what happened that night. I just, I went with the flow. I knew that I had great intents. I knew I wanted to help. I knew I wanted to be a part of something, and I just walked with it, and I allowed it to show and flow and spew through my pores. Like, I belong here. This is where I want. And I just smile and wave like the penguins on Madagascar, man. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
Well, when you're the same size as a penguin, I guess it makes sense, right? No, just kidding. All right.
Yeah, no, it's true. Smile and wave.
All right, so you have a fight coming up. So tell me about that.
So I fight March 15th against a very, very decent opponent. He's very skillful. Um, Verone. I don't know his first name. I believe it's Verone Rodriguez. I had a pleasure at being at both his fights and seeing how he fights and stuff. It's a very good opportunity for me to demonstrate that I have what it takes, because his physicality is just impeccable. He's in shape. He plays soccer. He has wind. He doesn't get tired. Um, but I highly doubt that he can withstand the power that I have within, and everything that I'm gonna be, blowing at him, like throwing at him. So I'm gonna be throwing my blows, man. And I just know that even if you have strength, everybody has a breaking point, and the power that I have within is stronger than his endurance. It's gonna break him down. That's even honestly, that's even if he's training the way he's supposed to. This isn't a boxing match.
Yeah.
This is not boxing. Don't get me wrong. The IQ is very important. I said that. I give the IQ the respect that it needs to have, but this is not boxing. The gloves, when you take them off, it's completely different. Reach changes. You can't just leave your jab out there. You can't try to find yourself with the jab, because if you have an explosive fighter who's small and goes low, and you're doing all that, and he comes from the bottom to the top and explodes, now you're in for a world of trouble, and now you're backing up. So there's definitely different fighting styles. You have to understand the type of fighting style that you have. How can you strengthen your fighting style? in your areas that it needs to be strengthened. Me personally, I've been doing that. I have the pleasure of, like I said, training where Gaio trains. They've been showing me nothing but love and respect and support, teaching me, showing me exactly where my errors are. I mean, my errors, when they see an error, they make sure to mark it and highlight it. And papo, if you don't fix that, tú estás jodido. Like you're gonna screw yourself if you don't fix that, because we see it, and if we see it, your opponent will see it. And just the philosophy and the way they treat everything. Tigre has open arms. He told me, I could go even sleep at the gym, and he's not worried about the money. If I come in there, someday with some money in my hand, that's not his philosophy, and I respect that, and I honor him, and I honor the gym and the opportunity, and I can't wait to just grow with that gym and be one of the champions that rises out of that gym. I'm a lion. I come from the lion pack. Um, Tigers, lions. I come from the jungle. I'm a warrior, man. And we're all animalistic, and we all have to learn that we have all fall short, but we have the power to change and grow and work on the things that we need to work on every day.
Okay, so you're training at
Young
Young
Tigers
Tigers.
Foundation.
Yep, Young Tigers. So you said you're gonna have somebody special in your corner. Can you reveal that yet or not yet?
Yeah, I can reveal that. I'm gonna have a guy in my corner, man. He offered. He knows what I've been through. I talked to him. I told him, the feelings that arose. Being around people that, just the energy wasn't matching, and he since day one he's been, smiling, love, and that's the energy that I like to have around me, and joking, and we're gonna joke. Let's joke, but not in a hateful way, and just
Sure.
the energy that he brings is a different energy, man, and it motivates me and it lets me know that what, this guy who used to take people's food, that used to do it, I used to have the same. What's crazy is that I didn't do what he did to that extent fully, but I was around similarities. But what he did, I wanted to do, but I'm glad that God never allowed me to be that person, like in full. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
taking, and the reason being why is because I didn't need to. And God has other soldiers and warriors and testimonies on this earth, and together we take a big role in it. And that's why I said I know that tonight together we stand strong. It's one nation under God. When I went to school, I was a kid that stood up proud with my head high. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I used to say that with all my heart and meaning, and still to this day I do. And I know that we all stray and we all lack, but together we come together and we make the team and the dream come true, baby.
Okay, so I believe this fight is going to be another amateur fight. I mean, do you a couple more amateur fights and then go pro, or is this one it and then
Yes.
done? Okay.
Yes, I believe. So a lot of people don't understand. In order for us to take off the gloves, we need 6 amateur fights. It's
Okay.
mandatory. It's just the state rules. Now, you can easily go to boxing events and stuff, and you can fast track yourself. But I want to take my time. I want to build. I want to build myself with BKFC. I'm very loyal. I don't want to go outside of BKFC.
Sure.
Plus I like bare knuckle anyways. I don't got time to be wrapping hands, casts, throwing on gloves. You know what? We're gonna get in there. Let's get in there, dog it out, and get out, bro, and get paid. That's just my philosophy.
Okay, so can you okay, so perfect amateur. I was always curious about that because I was like, oh, how long? So, A, how many more fights do you have before you can go pro? And is there anything else that we need to know about the amateur prospect stuff?
So it'll be 3 more fights. It'll be
Okay.
3 more fights. I believe it's a total of 6 I need. So after this, I'll have 3 more.
Okay.
Um, I might get fast tracked. I might try to talk. Nelson is a very big promoter. He knows a lot of people. He was in the boxing industry.
Sure.
So he might be able to fast track me. If God willingly, or maybe they might have some advance soon on. They may be able to throw me on another card just to fast track the amateurs who
Sure.
really, really want it as bad as they want to breathe. But like I said, I just keep my eyes focused. I know that, like I said, I give it 6 fights. I've heard. So I just, in my mind, I placed it. I just need 6 amateur fights and then I could go pro. And I don't want to cheat the process. I don't want to cut corners. I want all the experience. But obviously I'm anxious to take off the gloves because the gloves
Sure.
make a big difference. I have I have cutters, man. I fight people, bro. I've hit them one time, and bro, I'm talking about I gash them. I know how to
Sure.
cut. I know how to twist. I know how to punch properly. So I find my mark, and I just been waiting for the gloves to come off. But everything has its process, I don't want to rush. And BKFC's, still growing. It's fast growing, but
Yeah.
we have to give our managers and promoters and the staff time and patience as well. They got families to deal with. They got things to put together, and I feel like sometimes us as fighters, we do get a little bit antsy. We want to fight. You know, it's just inevitable. We want to fight, but we have to understand that sometimes we have to take on worldly duties, maybe get a job, maybe get a side hobby that is flexible. And when it's time to fight, it's time to fight. You have to explain. You have to utilize your mouth. A closed mouth don't get fed. And if you don't know how to talk to people, how can you make it, honestly, in this industry?
Okay, cool. So my last question for you, like we've been asking everybody, do you remember the very first time you were in a street fight?
Yes, I remember the very, 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 very first time. Well, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Street fight. Let's break it down. Street fight, because even though when you fight in school, even though it's not on the street,
That
it's still
counts. So I always preface it by saying the first time you punch someone in the face out of anger.
okay. The very first time that happened, I remember exactly when it happened. It was in the Boys and Girls Club. I
Okay.
remember I was playing basketball with my brothers. This is a crazy story. I was playing basketball with my brothers and some kids, and I remember a kid pushed me. And when he pushed me, I looked at my brother, and my brother looks at me and just shrugs his shoulders. And I just started doing a windmill. Like I just started, just literally, just started windmilling my hands, and I hit the kid a couple times. Then my mom came, that like Joshua Guptal. He might see this on Facebook. He
All
could
right.
testify for this story. I remember the staff, KJ. I remember this stuff, man. I remember the staff. We're still friends to this day. It's crazy, bro. But I remember the staff coming, calling my mom coming, them telling me that, I can't be doing that. And luckily, we were very, very favored because my brothers, they played baseball with Josh. They were on the Boys and Girls Club
Okay.
baseball team. So, they were athletic and stuff. So I got leniency. I didn't get kicked out after that fight. They let me back, and I was just under the supervision of KJ. I was under his arm, like, hey, I got to be under the staff now, walk with the staff. I
Yeah.
was always the one that was, I was the little short, hot-headed man. They still to this day they kind of say I got that little man syndrome, man.
All
Little
right.
man syndrome.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. I look forward to talking to you again. I would love to interview you before another fight. And like I said, I can't wait to like interview you knowing that you're going into professional. That'd be awesome. So,
Yeah, I'm
um,
excited for that.
okay. And I will go ahead and include links to your social media and stuff. Is there anything you want to give a shout out before we wrap it up?
Hey, shout out to the sponsors that helped me. Frances, she's wonderful. She told me she'd be willing to sponsor me, help out. Jim from Gulf Coast Loan and Jewelry, Dynamic Wellness, Arencibia, Bell Bonds, just everybody, the whole team. You can never go wrong with showing love and support to those who show love and support to you. Also, I do want to, there's an opponent that I want. I don't really
Okay.
usually want opponents, but
Let's
there's
hear it.
this guy, man, the handsome devil, whatever, some kid online, the handsome daredevil was, he's one of those guys that's just very hype on the internet and stuff like that. When he was in front of my face, my very first amateur fight, he was telling me, oh, I did good and stuff. And then come to the post interview, he's calling me a trash can and all this,
Huh.
nonsense. And I know that people do this to sell stuff, but I'm gonna clock him out early. I don't like that. I never disrespected him. I don't disrespect nobody. But when you talk crazy, believe me, I want to see about you. So I really want to see about him and get a match in with him, maybe in the amateurs, and later on in the pro, he can redeem himself once I give him that loss.
All right. Great. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks so much. And I look forward to meeting you again.
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the podcasts. You guys work as a team. You guys do great for us fighters. Shout out to my boy Merk, man. Merk, thank you for saving me the day of the freaking hotel, man. You already know, bro. Without you, bro, I would have been out there looking like a sad mess, man. So I
Yeah.
appreciate the family. I appreciate all the support. We stick together, and like I said, we united, we stand strong.
Thanks, sir.
No problem, brother.